Hey, today I finished Dragon Quest Heroes 2 off camera. I didn't really feel like streaming it. People have been pointing out that I've been getting really frustrated. I do have a low frustration threshold due to my depression and anxiety, but I think this game is it's frustrating to even people who don't have those issues. I saw apparently a lot of people rage quit at the same time that I did, which is like the first major escort mission you have where you have to protect the king. I think the king ending up being the final boss was like the icing on the cake. It's like he wasn't even the actual king in the first place. Overall, I mean, I think the combat is actually quite good. I think the thing that this game does best is it has like Muso combat and big bosses that don't stagger to anything, but it actually like does it quite well. You can dodge their attacks. Most of their attacks have tells. I do think some of them have pretty BS hitboxes, and the humanoid bosses in particular are probably the worst ones, just because they're so small and there's so many particle effects going on. It's really difficult to see what they're doing, and since they don't stagger either, and they're much faster than the monsters, it feels like they're not very enjoyable to fight. The two kings boss fight at the end, I think, was one of the worst fights in the game because they are pretty much just giant, massive hitboxes at all times, and you can really only hit them a couple times before you have to dash out of the way. And that kind of goes to the other problem with this game is that everything is just an HP sponge. It did get to the point, maybe like 50-60% through the game, like that last video that I uploaded yesterday, where I was actually doing pretty good damage, but it took a really long time to get there, and it feels like you could like use cheat engine to give yourself double or even triple damage, not touch anything else, and you would still have pretty meaningful boss fights. But when you're slashing or punching or kicking at a boss for like anywhere from 8 to 10 to even 15 minutes in some cases, and you're just doing pixels of damage, it doesn't feel satisfying. I hope if they make another one that they'll find a better balance. I think it's cool that the bosses, they do have really dodgeable attacks. It is fun to dodge them. The martial artist in particular is a lot of fun because you can parry pretty much any melee attack in the game, and that gives you a couple seconds to do weak point damage to them. I think that aspect of the game is really fun, but I feel like it should not be tied to just two classes. I think that's something that every class could have. That will definitely speed up the game quite a bit and make the other classes feel a lot less stiff. Now, the problem I'm having right now is that the end game seems to be heavily weighted towards having people to play with, and also having the server features, like the bonuses and stuff, active. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just me or not. Like, you can't even use that stuff on the PC. There's never any daily bonuses or anything. So I basically will have to use Cheat Engine to play this, but I hear the end game is just like so grindy that it's one of those things where you either have to really like the game or you have to be like a hardcore achievement hunter. But even then, I hear the achievements take like 200 hours to finish. So I mean, I guess bang for your buck. I know the game's like $12 on Amazon right now. If you want to go for the platinum trophy and deal with all the frustration and escort missions and stuff, then this game will definitely give you a good value for your dollar. But how much of that will actually be fun and not piss you off is probably up for debate. So I'm going to show how bad the drop rates are now. I have the one-hit kill cheat engine code on, and it's going to take me forever to get the Uber weapon. Like, people are saying the multiplayer bosses are possible to beat by yourself, but you have to do a ton of grinding. And I'm pretty sure I don't like the game enough to get to that point. This was kind of just a fun game for me to play, and I wanted to give it another chance. I mean, this is one of the few Omega Force Muso games I hadn't played, and I did just finish. I did just finish Berserk recently. But unfortunately, my opinion of the frustrating stuff in this game actually only got worse as I got past the part where I was, getting pissed off and I rage quit on the PS4 version. In terms of the PC port, I really didn't have any issues at all. The only time the game has ever crashed has been like when I'm messing with it with Cheat Engine. Now, normally Cheat Engine is not something that I would do because I don't I don't like to do that kind of thing if I'm like providing guides for people. I mean, like, what right would I have to make guides for something if I'm just cheating? But obviously, this game is like not even relevant anymore. I don't really intend on making guides for it. I just wanted to play for fun. So that's when I'm okay doing that kind of thing, or also when I've like beaten the game or I've done everything in it. Like Dynasty Warriors 9, like messing around with the cheat engine tables and stuff to add like witch time and make custom gems and stuff. That was when I had pretty much done like literally everything in the game. There really wasn't anything material for me to accomplish at that point besides just achievements. So I want to try to get the bow staff too. I might do like a bow staff playthrough later on. See, that's twice now, and I haven't even gotten one of the weapons. What's worse about the weapon drops is that they are decided the moment you pick them up, meaning that you can't save scum. I think if you could save scum, you could probably just get a handful of them and then just do it that way, but they're not that nice. You don't get to do that. I actually messed around with the damage multipliers. I gave myself like 50% extra damage in the damage multiplier, and the boss fights were still taking a long time. I think that says a lot. I know it's hard to balance, you know, damage and stuff in these games. Usually it's like either you do pixels of damage or you just start one-shotting everything. But I definitely feel like more work could have been done. Progression feels kind of off in this game. You go a long time doing like no damage, and then once you start getting accessories and stuff, the boss fights do get a little less like much of a slog, but it still feels like you're not doing as much damage as you should be. You definitely have to go into this game expecting to grind. Which isn't that weird. I mean, it is supposed to be a Dragon Quest game. I've never played any of the Dragon Quest games myself, but I know they're very traditional JRPGs, and that's kind of what this game has. You are expected to grind. It's not like you couldn't beat them with skill, but it would take so long, it would be very exhausting. And I think that's kind of the problem, you know, in like more traditional Musou games, if you have crap damage, you can still deal with most situations, as long as it's not a map where you need to protect somebody. In this game, like the escort missions, if you're not doing enough damage, man, it's just like, it feels insurmountable. Alright, I finally got one. Let's see what I got. So I have a pretty high chance of getting either claws or the bow staff. I haven't messed with the bow staff moveset yet. I hear they're like suboptimal, but I don't really care about being an esports player on this. I'm just playing it for fun. Sometimes it's nice to just play games for fun, because I don't have to worry about what people think if I use cheat engine or something. So that's actually a sword I didn't have. Let's check that out really quick. So I think they have like random stuff on them, which kind of makes the drop rate even worse when you think about it. Like this one is actually really nice. 7% ability damage is really good, but it's probably not too satisfying when you get one and it has trash affixes on it.
Welcome to our humble inn.
I feel like they designed this game like expecting it to have a very long multiplayer, like online lifespan, which kind of explains things why none of the bosses staggered at anything and why they have a lot of health and why the drop rates are so low, but they didn't really think about the future. You know, the game didn't have much of a long lifespan to begin with. And now, you have players like me coming in like 3 years later, and I basically have no chance of experiencing all the content in this game without using cheat engine. So I can't imagine what it's like on, you know, PS4 where you don't have that luxury. Although to be fair, the PS4, the console versions actually have the functional server features, so that's supposed to reduce the grinding, but for whatever reason, that's not working here. Overall, I think this game is it's a good purchase. It's on Amazon right now for like probably like 15 bucks after shipping. But I don't know, full price for this game, I think it's far too frustrating and grindy to really warrant it.
Hey, watch out.
I'm really glad that I never paid full price for it. Oh, well, she got her best weapon. So check that out really quick. I don't know if I have enough crap to sell to try another one. Let's see.
Cheers.
I think it's really cruel of them to make
Cheers.
the result of appraising these be permanent. Like you can't save scum it. No pun intended, but that seems really scummy to me.
Cheers.
Alright, let's go ahead and try to get one more.
Be lucky.
I think this game has like the age-old video game problem of like you can make a boss challenging by giving them more health, but you have to be careful and do it to the point where you have to be careful and not do it to the point where it takes forever to kill anything, because that just makes people get exhausted. The boss fights in this game are definitely very exhausting. I felt like they got worse towards the end, because it started really piling on the humanoid bosses, and like I said, they are the hardest to read. I feel like the hyper armored bosses, it works fine for like the actual monsters, because they're large and they have very significant tells. And like your dash, especially when you stack the invincibility frame increasers, you actually have quite a bit of responsiveness. You can actually dodge pretty much every attack in the game. But doing the same thing for 10 to 15 minutes is it's a common problem.
Come back soon.
There are lots of games out there that are really fun on the first playthrough, and then you start getting into like New Game Plus or subsequent difficulties, and everything just has like 10 times more health. It's like the game isn't actually any more difficult, it's just that you're doing the same thing for longer, and you have to not screw up for longer, and that gets really exhausting. Alright, so I didn't manage to get anything that I was actually looking for. I was trying to get a rare thing of claws so that I could turn off the cheat engine and just start playing the game normally, but you can see, you know, I was one-shotting him, and how bad the rates are. And then you have another layer of RNG, which is just, you know, will it drop something that you want, and will it have good affixes on it? I feel like that's the kind of stuff that should be in, like, mobile games or MMOs. But this is a single-player game with tacked-on multiplayer that it's not even accessible in some situations. So I don't know how far I'll take this. I mean, it was fun to play for a week, but I definitely don't see myself trying to go too far in it. I think once I get the claws, I might start looking into some of the other dungeons, but all the multiplayer stuff is basically off limits unless I do enough grinding or I turn on cheat engine. I don't think cheat engine is really interesting to watch. It's not interesting to watch someone one-shot everything. I think maybe if I put on like 50 or 60%, maybe even like double damage. I actually messed around with double damage, and things were still taking a really long time to go down. That might be something I do. Like I said, I'm not really trying to show off in this game at all. I think if I was playing it, you know, during its relevant lifespan and trying to make guides, I definitely would be a lot of a fraud to be making guides and stuff. But I'm just kind of playing this just to kill some time until next week. So we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.